Well, of course, I'm concerned about executing an innocent person. Every retributivist would find that the ultimate horror, and I just want to express my respect for what Barry Scheck does with the Innocence Project. That is fundamentally a retributive program. We don't want the innocent being executed. You say 100% certainty. I'm not 100% certain that this ceiling won't fall, collapse, and kill us. Neither are we all, but we're very brave to sit here. The fact is we trust our lives constantly. We trust our lives for a tiny risk of death, and for the sake, when I walk my beloved grandchildren and do it down Broadway where a truck might jump the curb and kill them for the sake of convenience. Surely if I'm willing to take an infinitesimal risk of those I love for the sake of convenience, I'm willing to take that same kind of risk for those I detest for the sake of something much more sacred, which is justice. It can be refined. I'd love to talk about how it can be refined and improved. And one last point, if I might, which is they duck the question, and the reason they duck the question is because abolitionists are, your question, because abolitionists are divided into two categories. Some will admit, and have admitted to me, yes, people do deserve to die, I just don't trust the government to do it. Others deny that anybody can deserve to die, and so when you ask the question you ask, you're using the entering wedge to split the ranks of the abolitionists.
I'll admit I don't trust the government to get it right.
But do
I'm
people
like
deserve
George
to
Will.
die, Barry?
It's a government program.
Do people deserve to die?
Diane.
Yeah, I want to bring this back to what this is really a conversation about, which is a public policy question. It is not an abstract conversation about whether some people deserve to die, and I think that's the point. We've been proceeding down this road as if that's the question. The question is, do we do things that don't add up to a real product? And we've yet to hear. We've heard, it's both sides of the story about deterrence.
But Diane, why don't you feel the abstract question is relevant?
Because we're talking about a public policy like everything else. And when you have a public policy decision to make, you look at, does this thing that we're doing actually produce what it's supposed to? Does it work in a way that it's supposed to work? And our opponents concede that the thing is broken. They just say we need to keep trying to fix it. The point is, it's broken.
Ken Scheidegger, just a little bit more on the abstractness of this issue.
Okay.
Your opponent is saying that the abstractions are irrelevant to this conversation. For example, the question that maybe some people do deserve to die does not belong in this conversation because we're talking about a policy. What's your response to that?
I believe that both the retributive and the utilitarian aspects have to be considered. I think that Robert is right, that it is a matter of justice and a matter of who deserves to die. And I also think that the practical aspects also need to be considered, the questions of deterrence and incapacitation. And I think we need to weigh all three of these factors when we consider the public policy such as this.
Yeah. I should add one thing on the, I don't want to be perceived as ducking the moral question. I think that there are plenty of people in this country that are pro-life, that believe that it is wrong to take a life. The Pope, I'm in the corner with the Pope and others on that question. But when you're debating a public policy issue about something like this that doesn't work and is causing incredible suffering for the wrongly convicted, even for many families of murder victims that don't find closure in this process and go through it, some do. I just, nobody wants to say that the moral question is irrelevant, but it is a factor to be weighed, that's all. And there are plenty of people on the right that think it's morally wrong to take a life.
I just find it a little bit